waits, and Thompson scores!
Masaba's in the middle, Wednesday here could seal it, Casimir finds Masaba!
Now Bannon with a great ball in, here's an opportunity, Palmer scores! Liam Palmer has scored for Sheffield Wednesday!
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. I'm James Mappin and this is your chance to get something off your chest. It's the debate show, of course. This is where you can do just that. We're live on YouTube, X and X Spaces as well. So please do get the comments in. Do come up to speak as well. I'll read as many of the comments as I can throughout the show. But yeah, the best thing to do is head over to X Spaces. Just go over to @WTID pod if you're not already there already. Look on the timeline, the Spaces link. It's big, it's purple. You can find it. It's on there. And join that chat, and then click the request to talk button on the bottom, and then you can come up and speak and get everything off your chest. As I said, we're going to be live for around about 90 minutes till it's not been about that long, 9:30 this evening. I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to speak as well. If you can't stay for the full show, don't worry, you can join Patreon, patreon.com/WTID pod. Lots of new members in the past couple of weeks, which is always great to see. You can join the Discord, you can listen to all the extra episodes that we do. We don't just do the Sunday episode, we do all the other ones as well. Preview show, listen to me previewing Friday's show. Matt's going to be manning the fort at the weekend, previewing the Middlesbrough game on Monday as well. So yeah, check it out. Patreon.com/WTID pod. Also, a huge thank you to everyone that tuned in on Monday evening, a special episode that we did with the Reading fan pressure group Sell Before We Die. Really enjoyed doing that, to be fair, as sadistic as that sounds, adding a bit of perspective into where we are as a club right now. It's quite frightening as well with some of the similarities between Reading and Sheffield Wednesday. You could literally just swapped Reading for Sheffield Wednesday and Die Young for Dejphon Chansiri, and it would probably have sounded pretty similar, to be fair. If you haven't watched it, it's over on YouTube or on your podcast player of your choice as well, so do make sure you give that a watch or a listen. What we're going to be talking about, well, I did promise on the weekend that we might touch on the Oxford game. If you want to, that's fine. If you don't, equally fine as well. But yeah, 1-0 defeat, missed chances from Masaba and Ingleson, notably. A few players went missing as well, we have to say, and we got outdone by a long throw, which we should have known all about given who it was that was taking said long throw in. We can talk about that if you want to. The protest, the Sheffield Wednesday Trust, it feels ages ago now, doesn't it? It feels like so many things have happened since that, but that was literally just Saturday that's just gone. The protest that the Trust staged, "Turn Your Back on Chansiri," was the tagline. What did you make to it? Did you think that it went well? It's kind of what you expected, more. You know, let me know what you thought. Did you turn your back as well? Again, let me know what you thought about that protest. We also had the letter, which came before the protest, a heartfelt plea and a sorry, amongst other things. A lot of words, not a lot of substance, though, to be fair. Again, let us know what you thought about the letter that the chairman sent. I thought the timing was pretty poor. Or was it calculated? I don't know. And obviously, the protest was happening just a few hours after. Surely that wasn't a coincidence. And then, yeah, the two words on everyone's lips at the moment, from a Wednesday perspective, that is engagement and panel. The panel met yesterday, as DC mentioned on his letter that we just mentioned. That meeting took in excess of 5 hours from start to finish, which is quite topical, really, because you could have driven to Oxford and back in the same time that meeting took as well. Obviously, we don't know anything that's happened in said meeting. Obviously, the minutes are yet to be published, whether that's going to be soon or later. I have no idea when it's going to be. I would like to think they would kind of get their arse in gear and at least try and get something out, because there is a lot of people that want to read it. I don't know why. I don't know what it's going to say in there. I personally, I don't think we're going to have all the answers that we think we're going to get. But yeah, that obviously happened yesterday. I do want to say as well, by the way, that, you know, a lot of people have been talking about NDAs and, you know, why do fans have to sign one if he won't weren't for selling the club. They are two different things. Like these are just meeting minutes. It is a general. This is what happens whenever there is a meeting in business. The minutes have to be signed off by everyone in there. Usually that gets done before the next meeting. Obviously, this is a bit different because obviously getting published out in the public. But yeah, it just is what it is. We just have to be patient. We just have to wait. Let's not start slagging off all the other supporters groups that are part of that. They gave up so much of their time yesterday. 5 hours being. I mean, I was in a meeting with him a few years ago, as I've mentioned a few times. It is tiring and it's long as well. So, hats off to them for sticking with it as they did. I suppose the other question I want to pose as well is, what owner do you want? There's a lot of talk about we don't want Dejphon Chansiri, but I don't want a name. But like, what are you looking for in the next owner of Sheffield Wednesday? What qualities do you want that owner to have, and what do you want him to come out and say? Do let us know. Do come up and speak up on Twitter Spaces. I can see that G wants to speak as well. Let's have some more people hitting that request to talk button as well, and do come up. I'll come to you in a second, G. But I just want to read some of the comments out. We've got Chris says last few have been revealing, been quite the day so far though. Been a quiet day so far. Yes, it has. Another Chris says rumor has the engagement panel is still ongoing. No, I think it has stopped. I think it was, what time was it? About 6 o'clock or just before 6 o'clock yesterday evening from 12:30. So yeah, quite the mammoth meeting it was. Jimmy, I put a message on his earlier on when I was on my lunch. He didn't read it out, but I'll read yours out, Jimmy. There you go. We've got Nat saying evening. Matt says, my son was born on Monday, another little owl in the world. How do I explain to him that my area with Chansiri in charge, he's going to be the next Barry Bannon, but not with his hair. Chris says Reading, but 2 years behind. Yeah, that did shock me, that actually, when they said that. Like the things that happened in Sheffield Wednesday, Reading saw 2 years ago, which I was like, I can't do another 2 years of this. I don't know about anyone else. Craig says Leto is just another form of manipulation like everything he does. We all know we won't see the minutes until after Watford. I would like to think that they are going to come out before then, though, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of people pushing, and I'm guessing all the supporters groups that are on that engagement panel will want it to come out sooner rather than later. They're getting a lot of pressure as well, and it's not really aimed at them. Tony says evening all, Chansiri out. Matt says engagement panel are supposed to be for the fans, yet no one can come out and tell us what's been said. Bizarre. One thing I would say on this as well is one mistake that Dejphon made is but telling the wider fan base when this meeting was going to take place. These meetings happen quite often. I know this one was an emergency meeting, but the meetings, again, they don't just have one a year. I think they should have at least two, but they have more than two in a season. They do happen quite often. We never know when they are until the minutes get published. I think the one previously was the 1st of March, I want to say, and the minutes came out 10 or 12 days after that. So previously, we just don't know when they happen. We only know when the minutes come out. This is obviously different because he said that it was happening yesterday. So yeah, they can't come out and say anything because until the minutes have been agreed on, then nobody can come out. So because whose version of events are you going to agree on? Are you going to listen to the club's version? Are you going to listen to the supporters group's version? I think everyone's going to have. I mean, a 6 hour meeting. Do you know, there's going to be so many different opinions based on that as well. So I think we just have to, it is what it is. I know it's frustrating. I know every fan wants to, everyone wants to know what's being said, how it's being said. I know there's been kind of a few little, I don't want to say teasers, but there's been a few people putting certain things out there on the socials. But yeah, we're just going to have to wait, really. Let's come to G then. I will come to some more comments in a bit. G, how's things? All good?
I was actually thinking of sodding off because you were talking too much.
So that's what this show's all about, you know. But go on, G. What do you want to talk about, mate?
This meeting actually, and
Okay.
And I think what you said there, that meetings are supposed to be took place on the day it happens, right?
Mhm.
And usually, like that fans forum, you're usually given there's usually like comments that's come out, like what's been said, what's been heard, but I can't understand why they've made it silent all of a sudden.
Well, it's not a fans forum, first of all, G.
I know.
It's the engagement panel, which they do meet quite often, and this is just the normal procedure for this type of thing. They all have to agree to the terms of reference, and in that it says that, you know, nothing is to be discussed until the minutes have been published. Obviously, they get published on the official Wednesday website, and you have to find them a little bit, but they are on there. They might not publish them on social media and stuff, but they will be there. I mean, it's only because obviously what's happened in it, and that he said he was going to give clarity and kind of give further explanations on his letter that he put out at the weekend, and obviously the fact that the supporters groups have all come out and said that they all want a new owner, that there seems to be some like importance in this meeting now. But yeah, do you think we're going to get answers? Do you think we're going to get what do you think's going to come out of that? Because I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what's being said, and you know,
I'm just praying it's just new owners coming in, right? You know what I mean? Well, I'm just praying for that, to be honest.
yeah. Well, we can pray all we want, but I don't think that's really going to happen. I mean, he said in his letter, didn't he, that he doesn't want to sell the club, but he will listen to offers if they do come in. But yeah, I mean, just on that, just on the whole new owner thing, I think now is a perfect time for anyone who is thinking about potentially purchasing Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, again, I don't know how it all works. I don't know the mechanics of buying a football club, but surely if they went public with some sort of plan, I mean, a lot of the fan base would I mean, depending on who it is, of course, but as long as it looks all right, a lot of fans would jump on board of that and give it a lot of support, wouldn't it? Really?
I think first and foremost, like if you purchase a club, right, before the season kicks off, all you need, I think, first thing in your first full season, you build on before you have a plan on getting promoted.
Yeah,
I think that's what I think we should have done when that first full season of Chancery, but we finished sixth and
yeah,
sadly didn't go up. But
I mean, I don't think it's going to be quick though, G. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be just.
It's not like wait, you can't just come in and say like, all right, we're going to take these lot to Prem, right? And but it doesn't work like that. All you have to do is build on. That's how things will go around here these days.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you that question that I posed at the end of the intro, G. What would you want from a new owner of Sheffield Wednesday? So if you could, I don't want names, like I said. Like, what type of characteristics do you want your new owner to have?
What I would want, right, is if a new owner came in, if it was one guy or two guys, I would say, all I would want is the club to be run properly and get us out of the mess, and just back managers and, you know, improve on the training grounds, you know what I mean, and the stadium and the pitch, everything all around Wednesday. That's all I want. It's everything to be improvable.
Yeah, I think that is a fair point. I mean, for me personally, I don't even want whenever a new owner comes in, I don't want them to use the lazy thing of Premier League in 5 years.
No,
do you know what I mean? Because really, I think as a fan base, we're kind of past that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's what we all want, and if we do get there, fantastic. But I think really at the moment, we just, as you mentioned there, improvements to the training ground, improvements to the academy, improvements to the stadium, which are in desperate need. It made me laugh how the Reading fans were complaining that their stadium is has not been maintained properly. I'm thinking, I had a look. That the Medeski, as I will always call it, not the Select Car Leasing Stadium, whatever it's called. 1999 that was built. I mean, God Christ, like if they think theirs is falling down, what did they think of Hillsborough? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know how long Hillsborough's been around. When was it? How long has it been around Hillsborough?
I don't know exactly when Hillsborough was built. I mean, I know it's obviously changed, hasn't it, over the years. Obviously, the last kind of big thing that happened, correct me if I'm wrong, obviously the grandstand being put in on the south stand. Before that, it was the roof on the Cop. Yeah.
Well, them old days, never my era, right? In
the
70s.
1914 is when we moved to Hillsborough. But obviously, yes, it has changed, hasn't it, over the time. Like I said, when did the grandstand go on? That must have been...
Not a clue, to be honest. I mean, grandstand, I'm not sure.
I'm sure people will...
I'm sure older ones will remember.
I'm sure people will let us... Well, no, it was fairly soon. Anyway, we're digressing. But it was in 1995.
1995.
Was it for the 1996 Euros? Anyway, don't matter.
I'm pretty sure it was. I mean, I think it were Denmark. I think played England. I think Denmark played England in '96. I think I heard.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, we're digressing. Let's is there anything else you want to talk about, G, at all?
About the Oxford game, unfortunately.
Go on then. What do you want to say?
Well, I will say that when 10 minutes passed, I did turn my back and on the football pitch.
Was you surprised at how many people did that, given that the week before with the there was very little chanting, obviously, but then with the protest, from my perspective, it did seem like there was a lot of people that did turn the back.
Well, there was majority of those that did turn their back, but for those that didn't turn their back, right, they're not. They're not going to support Chancery, or they're not Chancery fans. Like, they're focused on game. That's fair enough, right? But everyone's got their own opinions, right? But mainly, I just turned my back. I turned my back on Chancery, so it's just what I stand for, and to be quite honest,
Gee, I think that is a great point that you just made there. The fact that if people didn't turn the back, it doesn't mean that you are pro Chancery. You're right. People do just have, it's not one or the other. You couldn't kind of stand sideways, could you, and go, I'm sat on the fence. Do you know what I mean? You either do one thing or the other. But it doesn't actually mean that. And I think that's one thing. I know I keep referencing the chat that we had with the Reading guys. I do urge everyone to watch it. But one thing that I took from that is that they didn't always need to have 100% buy-in from every protest that they've done. They did different protests that kind of resonate more with other people. Some people ran onto the pitch for one of the protests. They've thrown tennis balls. They've done a march. They even did they all dressed up as clowns one day, and obviously all the kids got involved and stuff like that. So,
I didn't. I watched a vlog of that, and quite honestly, I did not blame them that day. I didn't blame them.
But what I'm saying is, you don't have to have 100% buy-in from everyone to make a protest successful. And I think that's what we're kind of that's what we're trying to look for. We're trying to get every single person, and it doesn't need that. Like that's not what we need. I just think we've just got to.
The last thing we would want is EFL sanctions if our fans ran on pitch and got a game postponed. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, exactly. And you don't want to do that, and you don't want to incur points deductions just because of something that fans have done. It's bad enough getting points deductions for what Chancery is doing, let alone for what we're doing as fans. But yeah, G, I'm just going to. I've got Jake and I've got Zach that want to speak as well. But thanks for going on, G. Do really appreciate it, as always, kicking things off. Zach, I'll come to you in a second. But again, there's lots and lots of comments that I'm going to try and get through. Before I do that, actually, do head over to the merchandise store as well. You can get one of the, I'm sure you've seen them. It's been around for a while now. The North Stand T-shirts in various different colours. And I'm only showing these because they're just on my desk. The beer mats as well, which... I'm sure you've seen. Now, there's a few there. Lopez, Glenn Whelan one, Massimo Luongo as well. there's 12 different designs. Head over, use the code free delivery as well, by the way, just to I'm not going to explain what that code gets you. It's pretty self-explanatory in it, really. But yeah, let's get to some comments in regards to the minutes. Tony said it won't be this week. Mr. J, normal circumstances, I agree with the non-disclosure, but considering where we are, we need to know the facts, not the sanitized version from the club. Yeah, obviously, the other supporters groups will have an opportunity to agree or disagree with the minutes, and that it might take a little bit longer if the club's initial version isn't what was said. But yeah, let's wait and see. I'm sure we'll find out sooner rather than later. Scott said he announced it for one reason, to cause division between the fans, and in part it has worked. Seem a lot bickering today about it. We need to stick together. We all want the same thing. Chancer out. Scott says enough is enough. Yozza, we all boycott the games until he's gone. One out, all out. Stop the cash cow. The only problem with that is, I mean, how much money does he get on a match day? How much money does he get from the match day tickets? You could argue the vast majority of season ticket holders, of which he's already spent that money already. How much is he getting through the pies and the drinks? I know it's expensive, but is it that much? I've no idea. I haven't got a clue. Luke says, unfortunately, I see minimum one more year of Chancery before a sale gets pushed through. Tony, it'll be the same. Nothing different. We ain't heard before. Yozza, in relation to what type of owner he wants, he wants stabilisation with a 5-year plan. Nat says, someone that knows something about football for a start. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Definitely. Not someone that'll use the club as a cash cow. Jules says DC will cut the minutes of the meeting that much. We won't get to know bugger all from it. I just want to point out as well, minutes of a meeting on it's not every single, it's not a transcript, it's not every single word verbatim. It is it is just kind of not bullet points, but it is a truncated version. I mean, Christ, if it was written word for word, I think we'd start reading it today and we could finish up next week with 6 hours of conversation, if indeed it was conversation. Mr. J, thank you, James, for having a podcast with your own views and not holding back for viewers like some other podcasts. We're past the pleasantries. He's got to go. No discussions anymore. Look, I let anyone have their own view. I've obviously got my own view, which I share quite regularly, but other people are more than welcome to come on here and have their own view as well. We did a podcast a few weeks ago with the people that weren't Chancery out. I invited them on. We did a full episode trying to listen to what their views are, and I think that's key as well, to listen to each other, listen to what other people have got to say in a, let's do it in a normal manner. Let's not, going at each other like you see on the socials. Let's sit down, because there might be certain things that you go, actually, yeah, I do agree with that, or vice versa. They might think, yeah, when you think about it, it's not much great things going on. I do give everyone a chance, definitely. Right, let's come to Zach then, if he's still sat waiting. Zach, how's things? You all good?
Yeah, I'm all right. You, mate?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. It's very tiring, all of this. Mentally tiring more than anything else. Just seemingly every single day there's something else, isn't there, really? But yeah, what's your take on it all? What do you want to say tonight, Zach?
About Chancery, and obviously, I've seen like loads of things on Twitter and Facebook and stuff,
right,
saying
okay,
about we've got 3 people in to buy a club, 2 from the US and 1 from UK.
Yeah, that's something that Joe Cran put out a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
They're all 3 different. It's not 3 people to buy a club and be.
Yeah,
It's 3 different consortiums or individuals and what have you that are, interested, I think, is the word that you're looking for. Which, I mean, Chancery has come out and said that there is people interested, but there's been no concrete bids. I mean, I think that's kind of what Simon, who came on the, I don't know if you watched those podcasts that we did with him, but that's what he was saying as well, that there hasn't been a bid because, well, partly because he feels that Chancery is blocking those or making it difficult. But yeah, do you think that this is it? is this the beginning of the end, Zach? Do you think Chansiri's time's up, and we're slowly but surely going to be transitioning into new owners at Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but like I said, I'm on side. I want Chansiri to go. Like I said, but what I don't want him to do is obviously with protest. I don't want him to turn around and go, "Look, you want me to leave? I'm just going to shut down club." Because we want a new owner. But the thing is, if this carries on, yeah, I know. But I think he's good protesting it, and I can't speak. He's even said himself. He's heard what your fans are saying, and he said it isn't obviously no one's. There is bidders, but obviously not rock solid ones.
Yeah,
they're just not coming in.
It's frustrating, isn't it, Zach? Because I can't remember how old you said you are, but I know you're only young. But you just want to go to the football and watch the football, don't you? We don't want to be talking about this every single week. You just want to watch Barry Bannon, Josh Windass, Deshaun Bernard, EK Ugbo. I know it sounds mad, but we want to watch all those players playing, scoring goals, winning games and stuff like that. We don't want to be talking about this all the time, do we?
Yeah.
Does it frustrate you a bit, Zach, with all that's going on at the moment?
Yeah. It's just like I'm trying to look at like what's new with club, looking on Twitter, seeing if I can find anything new about ownership. All I can see is get out of our club, Chansiri.
Yeah. I suppose you've only known Chansiri as the owner of Sheffield Wednesday, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's that's probably your earliest and only memory. I've seen certain comments from people saying, you don't know how easy you've got it. People harping back to the 70s and things like that. Many moons ago. Obviously, even before my time as well. One thing I'd say to those people is, we shouldn't really be comparing. It doesn't make what's happening now okay just because it might have been worse 50 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no shame in wanting good for the club right now. I'm wanting better for the club as well, because we're not going anywhere fast, are we, Zach, with the current owners? Well, or owner, should I say?
It's weird in my house because all my family are United, and the only person in my family that's a Wednesday fan is my uncle. And obviously my mum don't really follow football. If she had to pick, she'll go for Wednesday.
Right.
But it's like all them going about, oh, we're top at table. Look,
hey, well, they're not anymore, are they? The third. I hope you've been getting that one in, Zach.
Yeah, but then they're always like, oh yeah, but look at man the gap. Like, yeah, but we're still in race.
Hey, Zach, we could still be playing them next season, which will be very, very funny indeed. And
the derbies were tight though. Yeah, it were 1-0, but the games were scrappy. They played shit all game, both at games.
My only worry, Zach, is though when you look, what sort of money have we got for next season? Who are we going to bring in? We won't have Shea Charles. Yeah. It's almost certain we're not going to have Danny Real. Why is he going to stick around? He'll get any sort of offer to leave, and he'll probably jump ship. With Barry Bannon's a year older. He's obviously picked up I'm not sure how serious the injury is, but Danny said it wasn't looking great. All these players need replacing, and they cost money. All right, I know Barry Bannon was on a free, but we'd be hard pressed to find someone as good as him on a free this time around. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be tricky next season to cobble together a team that's going to be as good as the one that we've got now, if not better. If you know what I mean, with a manager that let's be right, he's turned water into wine, hasn't he? Really, with what he's had to play with this season.
Yeah, it's like I said, like since he joined last season, he's proper turned us round from being 24th to jumping up, like just on edge at table. It was that Southampton. Was it Southampton we visited last season?
The first game of last season.
Yeah, last game at season.
Sunderland.
Yeah, that was it. And
close. They're playing red and white, Zach. So I'll give you that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Zach, thanks for coming on, mate. Do really appreciate it, as always. Thanks for coming up and having a chat. Fingers crossed we can get everything all sorted. Are you going to be there on Monday against Middlesbrough?
No, we don't know. We don't know yet. We might get some tickets to it, but we don't know yet.
Great stuff. Zach, massive thanks for coming up as always. And yeah, if you don't do exactly what Zach's done, head over to Twitter Spaces, press that request to talk button on the bottom left and come up and have your chance to speak. I can see that Jake is waiting. I'll come to you in a second. There's more comments that I want to read out. Leon says, I also agree boycotting and not putting money into the club is the only way to get him out. Lolo de Wednesday says, get on pitch. So what if you get points deduction? That's what Lolo de Wednesday thinks. Garrett, think we need to create maximum exposure of our plight to the media. I'm very surprised nobody seems to have made White and Jordan on TalkSport aware of our situation. I do think they're aware, but yeah, everyone can do it on Twitter. They're on Twitter. They're on X, should I say. Keep mentioning them, keep getting in the comments, and keep letting them know. Keep banging that drum is all I would say. I know that Harry Winter picked up on it a couple of weeks ago, so it's certainly on his radar. He's obviously quite well respected in journalism. So yeah, I do agree, but we've got to just keep going at it. It's not going to be an easy fix. It's going to be something that's going to be rumbling on for a while. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen tomorrow. All these people, when a protest is being arranged and people say, that's all right, Chansiri is going to see it and he's going to put the club up for sale on Monday now. No, that's not what all these protests are about. It is exactly what Gary's been saying. It's about raising exposure and just keeping there. You're always there in the forefront. You're not going away. That's what all these protests are about. Nick, be interesting to see how many changed their opinion following the Chansiri statement, which was well written and cleverly timed. Most could see straight through it. I don't think it landed as well as what he thought. It probably pissed more people off than it did actually turn them around, if I'm honest. So yeah, probably had an adverse effect on it, if anything. Craig says, I'm pretty sure when the minutes are out, the EP can talk more about the intricacies of the meeting and not just what's said. I'm not too sure on that, Craig, because basically once the minutes are published, they've all signed them off. So if then they come out and say that this wasn't true and that wasn't true, they're breaking the terms of reference. So my honest answer is no. I mean, if it's totally wrong, I mean, look, if anyone was to do that, they will just be kicked off the engagement panel straight away, because that's just not how it works. So, I mean, we might see that, but I don't think they'll be a part of the engagement panel for much longer if they do. Ben says, ever purchased Haribo at Hillsborough? He's earning enough. Yes, about £3, £4 or something like that for a bag of Haribo. Ridiculous. It was the same at the arena as well the other day. £40 I spent on food, drinks and sweets for the kids. Never again. Although I said that and I went 2 weeks before. Anyway, Tony won't be this week because the 2 games over Easter, people won't like what he said, so leave the backlash till next week. But knowing Chansiri, he'll drop the mic 20 minutes before kickoff on Saturday. Obviously meaning next Saturday with the Pompey game. Read one more out and then I'll come to Jake. Tom, will the group poll the audience on pulling back from any more EP meetings as a protest against the current ownership? We engage with a dictator. Makes no sense. Fans and groups should take control. So enough means enough. We don't attend these engagement panel meetings. So all I would say on that, Tom, is speak to the supporters groups. They're all on social media. They've all got email addresses that you can contact. Speak to them respectfully and ask the question. That is all that I'm going to say on that. I'm sure they've all been having discussions themselves, but yeah, let's just wait and see what is being said. Let's come to Jake, who's been patiently waiting. Jake, how's things, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not bad, James. You?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you very much. As I said before, it's very, very tiring. This very mentally tiring, but yeah, we're here. This is it. This is what we're in. But yeah, what about yourself?
Yeah, you'd be more tired if you'd been in meeting, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I wanted to touch on were I think it's important to sort of people to manage their expectations of what they're going to actually get from these meeting minutes, because you've only got to read minutes from previous meetings to see that they obviously go on a lot longer than sort of what gets reported, and obviously a lot more is discussed than what gets released, which is obviously the point of meeting minutes. But I just sort of think that people are going to expect answers from this, but when have we ever got answers from any sort of meeting, forum, engagement panel?
Yeah, you've only got to go back to January, haven't you, Jake, and the fans forum, and how many answers we came away with more questions than we did answers, didn't we? Really, and some of the questions were fairly simple questions, and he just beat around the bush, didn't he, and didn't really and waffled on and didn't really tell us what we wanted to hear.
Him a question and then he moves it across to a different subject, you know, and I'm guessing that's probably what happened in that meeting yesterday. Things don't just change all of a sudden.
Well, you don't have. They weren't 6 hours of questions, were there? Let's be right. Let's be no. I mean, I don't know what the questions were, but in the best will in the world, that meeting should not have taken 6 hours. Like,
no, and at the end of the day, the supporters groups, it's not a crisis team. I mean, you know, like I feel a bit sorry for them really, because they're all in there to help, like, you know, the groups that they represent. They're not there to pander to Chansiri and discuss his failings. You know, I do feel a bit sorry for him really in that, because anybody asking them questions now, and why aren't you giving us answers? It's a bit unfair, that really, because you want answers from man that owns club, and unfortunately we just never get that.
And also as well, I think when they signed up to an engagement panel, I don't think that they would have thought that they were getting what they're getting themselves into.
No, I mean, do you know
what I mean? Like, it sounds great, doesn't it? Engagement, and it's like how to better the club, and you come up with ideas, and you can actually shape the future of the football club via actual, you know, fans having some sort of input. And then they're getting pelters left, right, and centre, which is not really.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought they're there to discuss ideas to improve the club, not to rescue it, you know, like that's what's gone off for me. He needed to speak to media about, you know, in terms of reassurances that people are going to get paid in months to come. It's not really fair to sit around the table with groups of people to discuss that and then expect them to be quiet about what you've actually said. Just the whole point of the meeting in the first place for me were wrong.
Yeah.
Them answers, the questions that need answering have been asked by Radio Sheffield. They've been asked on podcasts. They've been asked in national media. He don't respond to media outlets anymore. It seems to me like he's dumped this problem onto groups of people that are actually there to get fair ticket pricing and better service for their members. The whole thing stinks to me, really.
Yeah, it does me as well. I just think it's it's not. You don't see this, and I know obviously we're in Sheffield. You know, we Sheffield Wednesday fans, we see everything that happens at Sheffield Wednesday, but you don't see this at like other football clubs out there. Like, it only seems to be us that's running in this way, and it just seems really wrong, and it just seemed like he's, I don't know. It screamed to me like he was. Especially with the letter that came out of the weekend, like he felt really threatened. And obviously this was the first time he's come out and actually spoken, obviously since the fans forum, but it's first time he's come out, certainly obviously since the supporters groups all came together and showed their support for actually wanting new ownership and change at the top kind of thing. It just sounded to me like he was, he felt very, very threatened by it all. Obviously the protest as well. Now the trust have come on board. It seemed to me like he were running scared somewhat, and then he's been going down and going down fighting a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Well, you get sorry and I try my best and all that kind of thing, and I think key is he's tried his best. Like there doesn't seem to be any coming back from it. I can't see him suddenly finding millions out back at Sofa, turning club round, improving facilities, improving the club as a whole, and us being competitive. It's just not going to happen. I just don't get why he's still clinging on to it, especially under the amount of pressure he's under. It just makes no sense to not try and cut your losses and walk away. And I know we've all said it. And we're not psychologists, sorry, but how do you get in the mind of somebody that's just seemingly going downhill quickly, and and don't look to get out. It's just a bizarre situation.
It is. And we've asked this question time and time again. And I don't think anyone's actually come away with a plausible answer to why he's doing it. £9 million a year, and it's not like we don't know what his businesses are. I mean, and this is a question that Rob Staten were asking, and I think we've all kind of asked it before. But when you think about it, you're like, yeah, like where is his money actually coming from? Like, I know he's apparently some people have said he's got a construction firm, but I know obviously, over in this country, you can just go on Company's House and you can just find, who the directors are for various businesses. It's fairly easy to do that, and anyone can do that. A little bit more difficult over in Thailand, and of course, I don't even know where his companies are. Could be anywhere in the world. But because that would give you a bit of reassurance if you looked and you said, and you looked at some accounts for another, or looked at what the trade on stock market or whatever it may be, you go, they've got quite a bit of money, that company. You think, well, actually, we might be all right here because they're not going to run out.
Yeah, I mean, and as a fan base, we're pretty easy to reassure, aren't we? If he did that,
all you've got to do is put £5 meal deal on, and we're happy as Larry.
If he did come out and say, look, don't worry about it, I've got 600 million in bank. I've had a bit of an issue this month. My mistake. Sorry, it won't happen again. I'm fairly sure people would go, oh, fair enough.
They would.
But the fact he's not saying that is very worrying, in itself, because he's not giving any assurances that this won't happen next month.
He should have done that, Jake.
So the answer is, I'm trying my best.
He should have done, Jake. He should have said that on the letter on Saturday.
Yeah.
That letter should have said, I'm sorry it's happened. Like you mentioned, all right, he might not say 600 million, but he's like, I can assure you that it won't happen again. Well, just straight up, it won't happen again. But he hasn't, like you said, he hasn't even said that. He hasn't even come out and told anyone. And you just think, I know he paid the staff. The staff got paid. Obviously, the players didn't.
Well,
but
I think we paid the staff. If you actually think about it, when you talk about the money that came in, and I know that there's day-to-day runnings of a football club. It's business. It's easy to see that they spend more than comes in, but not last couple of months. Last couple of months, far more money's come in than what required to go out.
Yeah,
no matter how much debt you're in.
But what point I'm making, Jake, is the staff got paid, so that's all right. That's okay. Yeah. But what about this month? Them people that are going to work every day, doing their own day-to-day jobs, they're going to think, well, the players didn't get paid last month. They're going to be thinking, like, a week? Oh, is it our turn to not get paid? This time around, are they not going to pay us? I mean, if he misses payments by one single day, we heard from the Reading guys on Monday, that Dai Yong didn't pay the staff because if he didn't pay the players, it would incur a points deduction. Now, if we don't pay the players this time around for one single day, not even the how many 10 days it was this time around, for one day we get this 3-window ban and probably a points deduction as well. So. The staff they need assurances that things are not going to happen again.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, I can't see them assurances coming. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I might be totally wrong. I might be come on here next week and certain minutes be released and go, I don't know what I'm talking about. But given his track record of meeting minutes, and this is no dig at the people in the meetings because it's the only meeting in the world where there's only one person that's talking and that's sort of over not listening. The point of having a meeting is you take everybody's view on board and then you respond to it. But if it's anything like as fans forums, it's somebody asks a question and we listen to him for 25 minutes talking about something completely different.
He doesn't want to listen, Jake.
Yeah, no, of course he doesn't.
It tells you that he wants to listen. He doesn't. He wants to talk at you and tell you and get his point across. He doesn't. Yeah. Again, I know I go back to I've sat in a room with him with 6 other people. Trevor were there and Alistair was there, and you ask the question and he'll listen to the question and then he will talk to you for the next, like you said, 20 minutes. And the thing that it was as well, as he's talking, like a conversation, you've got something to say. Trevor actually told me before we went into the meeting, don't interrupt him because he finds that very disrespectful. So obviously everyone just sat silent whilst they were talking. And by the time it gets to the point where you want to say something, he's spoken for that long, you've either forgotten about what you're going to say or you're thinking, well, I'm not going to say anything because he's going to ramble on for another 20 minutes and I'm fed up with it, to be fair. And that's what he does. And then, so what happens is you just move on to the next question then. And I feel like he feels like he's satisfied that question. And, you know, it's just tiring, and it's not productive in any way, shape or form. He doesn't, you know, go back to the fans forum that a lot of people attended in January. Not one point that got put across. And some people actually came with some decent ideas, and not one did he say, I'll take that on board and I'll go away and I'll think about that. He had an excuse for absolutely everything. He doesn't want to listen. He doesn't care what other people think, and he just wants to do it his way or no way.
Yeah, I mean, his way is not particularly successful, is it, at the minute? That's the worrying thing. I mean,
I don't know. I genuinely think he probably thinks he's doing a good job.
You can do is listen to people, isn't it, when you're struggling, and take their opinion on board. Like, you know, to just carry on doing your own thing, and, you know, ending in disaster after disaster. It's never gonna end well, really.
No. Jake, I've got Owen waiting. I've got Peter waiting as well. But I want to ask you as well, before I come to them, what do you want from a new owner, Jake? What sort of things do you want them to come out and do or say when a new owner or group or whatever it is that comes in next?
Do you know what? I just want a bit of normality. I'm not particularly bothered if we're top at league or you know, mid-table or even battling relegation. I just want rid of craziness. You know, like quite often you get these comments from him that he struggled through COVID. Well, so did other 91 teams in league. You know, all excuses that he's come up with. Well, I said 91, 90, maybe we'll chuck Dye in there and maybe Blackburn, but yeah, I just want normality. I want to go back to watching Wednesday and actually caring about what's going off on pitch. I mean, I always care what goes off on pitch, but he's sort of getting overshadowed, which is ridiculously sad.
Yeah, who's bothered about Friday's game against Stoke? Let's be honest.
Well, he shouldn't be centre of attention, should he? And that's got to stop. Like, he shouldn't be centre of attention. Players should be, and you know, family day out shouldn't be marred by talking about a lunatic. But sorry, I let myself down there, but I have to do it.
Yeah, Jay, I think you're right, Jay. I think you just want just to be kind of like all the other clubs. Just, you know, of a club of this size, you should just be comparable to all the others of this size as well. You know,
you're gonna have odd complaint, aren't you? We shouldn't have sold him, or why haven't we invested a bit more in? That's always going to happen. But these massive media own goals aren't normal. And, you know, I think as a fan base, we've got that used to them, that we think they are normal, but it's not normal.
Stockholm syndrome, Jake.
Yeah, it's not normal to be in national press for not playing players. It's not normal to be getting transfer embargoes. It's not normal to have meetings where chairman shouts at everyone for hours on end. It's just not normal.
Great stuff. Jake, massive thanks for coming up, mate. Do appreciate it, as always. I'm going to come to Owen in a second. I'm just going to read a few more comments out. I've got some over on the Twitter Spaces. Coop says, we need action now before it's too late. Too many fans waiting for shit to hit the fan before anything is done. Let's avoid that. Thing is, Coops, I genuinely, hand on heart, like I do feel like it's going to take that until something actually does happen. As you know, but we still need to keep going what we're doing, definitely. John says there's not going to be any answers from the meeting. Chancellor will just huffed and puffed around the questions, and he won't say anything worthwhile for the fans. We all know that, but we still cling on to the belief that there will be. Kelly says, then how do we get him out without the club dying in the process? Great question. I don't know. If anyone does know the answer, let the trust know, let your supporters group know. I think we do have to just keep going and keep doing what we're doing. Scott says, get him on the podcast, James. Would love to see you question him. I did ask him to come on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I've sent him an email. He's replied to me before. He hasn't replied to me this time around. Maybe I'll try LinkedIn and he might actually reply to me this time. And Zach says, up the effing owls, get Chansiri out. I'll read a few more on YouTube and then I'll come to you, Owen. Thanks for waiting. Luke said the protest to gain traction and media coverage, it needs to be consistent. Turning the backs once is not enough. Every game, home and away, the same on 10 minutes. It needs consistent protest of turning. That's what Luke thinks. Garrett, Chansiri is going nowhere fast. He will run us into the ground before he sells. I'm dreading next season with all the players out of contract and what we're going to get in over the hill players. Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Steve, who I go with, father-in-law, he was like, if season tickets were on sale now for next season, would you buy one? He said he wouldn't. I don't know what anyone else thinks, because you'd certainly think about it. You certainly think twice about getting one. A lot of people didn't renew already. A lot of people did. Obviously, we were doing all right, weren't we? But yeah, it would be interesting. Matt, just in terms of what he wants from an owner, I want an honest person to come in and stabilise the club and sign a couple of quality players and has a plan. Also, someone to come in and build the academy. Right, let's come to Owen then, because he's been waiting patiently. Owen, how's things? You all good?
How are we doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. What do you want to talk about, Owen?
Well, yeah, that comment you just made there, asking Chansiri to come on the podcast, just made me laugh. Have you got like 5 hours spare to?
Joe, I'll tell you what I'll put in the email. I'll be upfront and honest. I just said it. I'll put in the email. I've criticised. Well, we have criticised you enough on the podcast. I want to give you a fair opportunity to give your version of the events and to answer some of the questions. I asked him if he wanted to come on. A total shot in the dark. I thought I'd just go. Again, I think it's only fair to give him the right to like I said to back himself up, but. He's not replied, so I've no idea. I don't know. It didn't bounce back. The email didn't bounce, so it must be somewhere. But to be fair, I did say that he needs to stop replying to people. So maybe he's took my advice. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I think with his statement that came out on before the Oxford game, where he says, you've got to question what you read in, like some of it's true, some not so entirely true, and telling you to be critical of these things. But he's not coming out and outright disqualifying any information that's coming out. He's just making general terms, so that it's sort of like he's just being divisive. Like I say, it was the way that the statement was timed, right before the match when he knew what was going to happen. I think all his actions now are just things to keep him at the helm for as long as possible. That's my personal opinion. I think in terms of with him saying that for the right person, he'll sell the club, but it's got to be under his terms, in basically like not an NDA. It's got to be on the president.
Owen, that is mad, isn't it? No, he don't want to sign an NDA, and I have no experience of buying a business. I tweeted earlier that I've now become an expert on meeting minutes, NDAs, embargoes, everything in the past couple of weeks. But, reading into it, like an NDA, my understanding, again, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but it's so that anything that gets, you open the book, you open the book up and you let them have a look, and then they can obviously make put an offer in from what they've seen, and they go, yeah, I'll give you X amount of money, and that's when the negotiations start. Obviously, you can do that anyway without an NDA, but obviously, if you're opening everything up, they can just run away and go, like, oh, by the way, these have done this and they're doing that, and start spouting things off. My understanding is that stops him from doing that. And I get he's saying he's doing it on trust, but what's the point? It makes no sense. Like you can still have the trust there and still sign an NDA. Like it doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's like he's hiding something.
What has Chansiri done in the last 8 years to prove him to be trustworthy? Imagine you're talking this 50 or 60 million or however much, it just based on trust as fans. Just we're not asking for any money or anything like that. We just want to be able to trust them, and we can't. So when it comes to money terms, why would you? Why would you?
Well, all you've got to look at Owen. All you've got to look at Owen is Darren Moore. The situation with Darren Moore.
Yeah,
it turned into a slanging match. He said he wasn't going to say anything, and the next minute he just blurted it all out, which then forced Darren Moore to say his version of events, and it turned into an episode of Jeremy Kyle. Like, didn't it really? And he said he wasn't going to do that, and it happened. So yeah, to more to your point, how can you trust him?
No, exactly, and it's just been, like you say, it's been one car crash to the next. In terms of, I just don't think he knows how to deal with. He's not. I think I've said it before on socials that he's not a businessman. He's just a man that's been born into money, and he's just we're his play toy. And I think, like, culturally, I think it's that thing, like you say, in Thai and Chinese culture with the you know, your terms of class and that sort of thing. I think it's that he looks at people as subordinates, and I truly do believe he thinks of us as subordinates, and that's why when you go to these meetings and these engagement panels and the fans forums, he comes out and says, I've come here because I don't understand what I'm doing wrong, and then just drools on for 6 hours about why he's doing the right thing and how everyone else is wrong, and then you know what I mean? Like it's mental. It's absolutely mental.
A lot of people, Owen, have been using the word manipulative, and I think they're right. I think that is what he's like. He can turn people around, and obviously as football fans, like we are very fickle. When things are bad, you only need a slight glimmer of hope, and you'll latch onto that, and then you'll and I think we've given him more than enough opportunities over the past. Well, he's been here 10 years. Certainly over the past 5 or 6 years, we've given him the benefit of the doubt. You know, he got us out of the mess that he put us in the first place by getting us out of League One. And I do feel like, Darren Moore doing what he did. I know some people are going to say he failed. Obviously, Danny Röhl doing what he did last season. It's just kind of, he's giving him another lifeline, and every single time, because there's a part of me that just thinks we shouldn't have got promoted when we did, and then maybe it would have been, maybe we could have got rid of him, and it might have been a bit different now. Do you know what I mean? We didn't need to come back up into the Championship with Chansiri as the owner. I think it's easy to say that now. Obviously, it was great when we went to Wembley and won and did everything we did. But do you know where I'm coming from?
Yeah. I think, like you say, it's sort of slung him a lifeline. I think Danny Röhl was a unicorn he's pulled out of his arse. I don't know how he selected him. Honestly, look at like Gary Monk, Tony Pulis, Cisco, and then somehow he's managed up with Danny Röhl out of those. And it's like, you've rolled a pair of sixes again somehow, and it's gotten you into the Championship. And with the Sky revenue and the extra money, I think that's slung him a bit of a lifeline. And that's where I think things have now got to get worse before they get better. Where until we end up maybe in league, well, I don't know. We're jumping from crisis to crisis now with the cash flow from the Championship, but I think we'll have to go back to League One to lose that money and for Chansiri to sell up. But then obviously, if there is talks of being sold or consortiums looking at us, then that's he's going to lose value on that part. And then obviously with the looming deductions and the rest of it, it's sort of like
that's it. Owen, if you look at it, like you're right. Whatever the club's valued today, if he misses another payment and then the club can't sign players, instantly that club then becomes not as attractive. And people that want to buy it are going to be like, well, why do I buy it now when we're probably going to get relegated? And then all they do is look at Ipswich and Sunderland. I know obviously where they are now, but Portsmouth is another one. And again, I know they're back in the Championship, but they're probably going to be they're not doing too great in the Championship. But one point I'm making, they stuck around there for a long, long time. Bradford City is another one, and they might be thinking, you know what? Yeah, I've got a bit of money, but I don't want to be that. I don't want to pay the Championship prices for a club that's going to get relegated. I suppose the opposite to that would be Birmingham. Again, they weren't really destined to go down at that point. They didn't have all the issues that we've got, did they? But point I'm making, they're just going to wait until we're at the lowest point, and then they're going to come in and try and buy the club for a lot cheaper price. But
I think this is how broken my psyche is by Chansiri, is that I'm convinced that he's probably done this as a power play to put off any potential sale. It's sort of like, well, you're going to have to buy a club that's banned, or he's took us right to the 11th hour. And right to the point of a verge of a deduction and a transfer ban to sort of use as a power play to anyone who is potentially thinking about coming in for sale. Obviously, that's a bit conspiratorial.
Well, he's come out, Owen, and said that he's not doing it as a game. On his letter, he said it isn't, but they're just words, aren't they? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. What can you believe from the man? Like I said before, in the last 8 years, what has he shown to prove that he can be a trustworthy owner of the club? Like, what has he done?
I'm struggling, Owen. But everyone knows my thoughts on him. He's done as far as I'm concerned. And no matter what he comes out with in these meetings, whether he does give assurances, whether he says that he's going to spend X amount of money on the stadium. The problem is, like, when you can't my issue is when you can't pay the players in the last month, then you look at what else could he do, and I said this on another pod. I think it was last Wednesday. If we've got lots of young talent coming through, or not even coming through in the first team that are playing, like the likes of your Chris Riggs from Sunderland and the other players like that. If we had a few of those, you can think, well, wait a minute, we've got £70 million worth of players here. We get rid of them. I know it's not great, but it's going to help us move forward, and we're going to have a bit of money, and we can kind of rebuild. We haven't got that. We've got Jedi Gassama, who might be worth £10 million, maybe. We've got Pierce Charles, who might be worth 5, 7. I don't know. I've no idea what he's going to be worth. But the point is, that's just 2 players. We haven't got anyone else really that's going to bring us in any sort of money when we get rid of them. All right, we've got Keelan Kadamacha, he's 15. We could have got $1 million for him the other day or the other week, but we apparently rejected that one. There's no kind of plan. There's no like contingency plan that we can kind of fall back on in order to then say, yes, I'm happy with what he's going to do. Nothing that he can say now for me is going to help change my mind at all. And I just think he's, as you mentioned earlier, just kind of buying a bit of time. Owen, massive thanks for coming on, mate. Do appreciate it as always. I've got Peter that wants to speak as well, and I've got loads of comments to go through. So let me just read some of those comments out. Let's read the Twitter ones first. Adam says he has a construction company, yet Hillsborough remains untouched. Yeah, it's uncanny that, isn't it? That's let's have a look. Scott says, Jake nailed it, pal. Spoke a lot of sense. Some love for Jake in the comments. Matt says it's looking worse as it gets to the end of the season. Players don't care. No contracts signed. Status of the club in limbo, and potentially a new manager coming in. Game by game, I'm disliking the arrogance of Danny Röhl. Fingers crossed we can get some players tied down and a decent replacement for Röhl. We asked for a boring season. I'm never, ever, ever asking for a boring season again, because all right, we might have got the mid-table finish, maybe 13th at the moment, but by God, it has not been a boring season off the pitch anyway. J-Bo, I wonder how much of this was Tuna Man just waffling on about one question and how many questions were actually addressed. We'll have to wait and see on that one. J-Bo, Chris, he's a man under pressure, so I guess he was a perfect gentleman until someone said something that he didn't like. Big Artie Show, DC is like Nero playing the fiddle whilst watching Rome burn. Absolutely shocking for us fans. Yeah, it's that meme, innit? The everything is fine meme, and it's all burning around him. Yeah, that's someone put one with Chansiri's face on, which I thought was quite funny. Let's Tony, Chansiri on a podcast will be amazing. Publicity for us as fans at the moment. Yeah, it would be a long one. I wonder if my camera would stay up for as long for that one. I definitely need a few cameras on that one. Right, let's come to Peter on the Twitter Spaces. Peter, mate, how's things? All good?
All good, thank you, James. Are you, mate?
Yeah, I'll say yeah.
Yeah.
I'm off to Dusseldorf in the early hours of the morning.
Lucky man.
I'm getting picked up in 6.5 hours time, so
Nice one.
on a stag do for 4 days. So I don't know how what sort of state I'm going to be in when I come back. If you see me on Monday, I might be a bit, for the Middlesbrough game. I might be a little still worse for wear, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be we're in this constant spiral of controversy after controversy, and it's
as Owen said, we're just literally hopping from one disaster to another disaster.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and it's that while ever we've got a figurehead at the top of the club like Mr. Chansiri, then that's always going to happen, because obviously, but reading his statement last week, it was like reading statements from every other statement he's ever written. It's just a copy and paste job. says a lot, but doesn't say. Well, in terms of words, it says whatever it says, 400 or 500 words, but it says very little.
Nearly close to 1,000 words there.
Yeah,
Peter,
yeah. So it's
that'd cost a lot in one of your magazines, wouldn't it, Peter? That 1,000 words.
Yeah. I mean, pretty meaningless, really, because he can say sorry as much as he wants. It's the actions. Famous old saying, actions speak louder than words, and there are very few actions, particularly of late, that have shown Mr. Chansiri to be a worthwhile leader or a worthy leader of our football club. And that's what it is. Those 3 words, our football club, he can't get his head around.
I've just brought the statement up now. The first thing I've just read on it. I've never stopped loving or believing in our fans. And then he goes on to say, there will be criticism for me. If this is done in a respectful manner, I have no issue. How can we criticize him in a respectful manner? I don't really know. I think any sort of criticism he takes as being disrespectful. No matter how you do it, even in the fans forum, if you asked him a question, he thought you were being disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, we were there that night, James, and some of his responses, some of how he acted, and what I'm surprised at is that people like supposed professionals like Alistair Wilson and Trevor Braithwaite are working for him in terms of how he's almost got them under his spell. Now, there's obviously people at Sheffield Wednesday who've worked there for a long, long time who will love. It's not just a job to them. It's a passion. It's maybe the pinnacle of their working career to say they've worked for Sheffield Wednesday, and it's an honour.
Well, what a great place to work. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah,
like if you take everything out of kind of what it's like to actually work there, as in under Chansiri and stuff, and how he's like. But let's be right. Growing up as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, to work at Sheffield Wednesday, seeing the players come in, working at the training ground, seeing the players, that close up and personal with them. What a great thing to do. So of course,
it's a dream. It's an absolute dream come true for many people. But that dream become the reality of it is it's not really a dream. It's a nightmare because they got to work 9 till 5 or whatever the hours are, and then come the 28th, 29th of the month, they're all thinking, have I got enough to pay my bills on the 30th, 31st, or the 1st of the month when my salary drops in? When really they're not even sure that the salary is going to drop in first place, the poor buggers. You know what I mean? It's, me and you know where we're going to find us mortgage, find us money for Morrison's or Tesco or Asda or whoever we use. We know that we're going to be able to afford to pay us as Sky bill, as mobile phone bills. The poor people who are employed by Sheffield Wednesday can't rely on that. Simply because
they will be thinking. I've not spoken to anyone.
Absolutely.
They'll be thinking end of this month. Like it was the players last month. It could be us this month. And I don't know. Privately, they might have had assurances from the chairman. I sincerely hope that they have, because we're all talking about the players kind of down in tools because they've not got paid, and people saying, well, they've got all this money, it'll be all right for them. Not everyone that's on a quote unquote normal wage. Everyone lives to the means and stuff, and there will be people worrying, and that's the last thing that you want. I sincerely hope that they have been given assurances that they will be paid on time, and there's enough money to pay them on time this time around.
You'd like to think so, but with the lack of home fixtures this month, because that's his only cash income, because the players, the wage bill still won't pay him come whenever it is, 30th, 31st, or the 1st of the month.
Well, the tax bill needs paying before that as well, by the way.
Sorry?
The tax bill needs paying before that.
The HMRC,
the tax bill on the wages that he's just paid needs paying, I think, in the next 6 days, I think it is.
Yeah, I heard Harry on Praise and Grumble at tea time tonight at 6 o'clock, and he came out with a tale about his young son taking him to the game for the first time at the weekend, and
he did,
stuff like that. But the club as a whole has become, rather than being, in fact, fans still come to Hillsborough. And yes, we all know it deep down. It's a wreck, and part of the grounds are a disgrace. But you hear other fans talk about it, and they all say the one thing: it's a proper football stadium, and it is. But we've got, sadly, the business decisions that have been made in that boardroom or by Mr. Chansiri in his office have just been nothing but failure after failure. Whether it's looking after the North Stand roof, which was a well-kept secret for some time, we all knew it was condemned months and months ago, but they kept it under wraps. It just a lick of paint would make a world of difference.
Yeah, well, it's a great point you mentioned there about him, Harry bringing his lad for the first time. I can see from the women's supporters groups listening as well. Obviously, they brought, I think it's 8 new fans, people that had never been to a game before. They invited them down and they gave them a tour around the ground and stuff like that. And no disrespect to the women's supporters group, the club should be doing that. It shouldn't have to be the women's supporters group having to do this sort of thing. And it's absolutely fantastic what they're doing, and all the other, Wednesday week doing the Easter egg donations and stuff. Again, fantastic stuff that they're doing. Again, I know the club's helped, but it should be the club kind of doing these things as well as a football club, and actually doing all these initiatives and actually doing them off their own back and stuff. Like you shouldn't have to wait for other people to do that, and we should be shouting about it all the time. Like, again, shouldn't have to not just a retweet, it's a bit lazy retweeting a few pictures, actually shouting from the rooftops all the good things that as a football club we do.
And we how many times have I mentioned the words? There's so many freebies, free opportunities the club could explore and take advantage of and get brownie points from.
But when they get asked this question, they said that they do give a lot of tickets away. The question got asked about,
It's all about tickets. No, it's not all about tickets. I've seen photos on social media of this week of Barry Bannon and Josh Windass having photos taken at the training ground with lads, or with kids, and that will mean the world to that kid. That will, and it's little things like that cost absolutely nothing. It just costs 5 or 10 seconds of players' time.
I know, obviously, we talk about the pitch being in a terrible condition. I know it is. In the school holidays, why can't they have an open training session down at Hillsborough?
Yeah.
And get all the kids in the day. They come down and they can get a few of the concourse open on the south stand. They can have pop and crisps and drink and what have you, and they can come down and they can watch them train. They can have autographs and pictures and what have you, and do everything, and do all stuff like that.
I think there's a simple reason that doesn't happen, and that's because whoever is in charge of the PR and whoever's in charge of organising events like that is far too busy fighting other fires that Mr. Chansiri has already caused.
But that's how you bring new fans in, though. That's these people that might come to these events.
I totally agree that's the most important thing. The future of the club, bringing new fans in, new blood in, people who will come back to Hillsborough, people who will spend money in the shop, people who will will spend £3.50 on a crap programme, will come and spend £4.50 on a pie and a bovril, and they'll buy overpriced confectionery and drinks on the concessionary stands, because once you've got them in the ground, there's nowhere else they can go. It's those little simple things that we as a football club do not seem capable of doing, and it's
Stoke. The tickets at Stoke on Friday are £10. By all accounts, they've filled the Bet 365. Obviously, we've sold all our allocation. By all accounts, they've sold all their tickets. It'll be a great atmosphere for them. I don't think there's ever been a great atmosphere at Stoke, but there might be one on Friday. And I know people are going to say, "Well, Bet 365, they've got trillions of money or whatever they've got." Their season ticket prices are cheap anyway to start for starters.
Yeah, I mean, they're fortunate. They've got a very wealthy chairwoman who, they have free travel to every away game for all their fans on their coaches. And I've seen a comment there. I just want to bring it up because it's just kind of what we've been talking about. Lewis has just said they once did one of those open training days when I was young, and young fans queued round the hoardings for signatures. I filled the full shirt that day, topped off by a picture with Clinton Morrison. I just showed you how long ago that was. And we turn up for these things, don't we, Peter? Yeah, absolutely. And in the current state of affairs with Danny Roll and the likes of the popular team members, your Gassama, your Bernards, even if they're injured, they can rock up, they can have the photos took, they can sign a few signatures, and Danny Roll can have his photo taken 10,000 times, and it's like how much goodwill does that create? And it's another massive own goal the club's missed out on.
Yeah,
and how many times have we sat here and said this? Why do we not do this? Because somebody at the club is not doing the job right.
I think personally, there's not enough people at the club in order to do that. They're probably so stretched because there isn't any people there. Really, I don't know. I don't know for certain, but you see, I know I reference them down the road quite a lot. You see them on their socials. They've got a full media team. I mean, the fact that we have to outsource ours out, and it's a great job that they're doing, by the way, in the inside match day videos and stuff like that. It shouldn't be an external team that's doing that. They should be working for the media team, doing all that themselves. Football's not just football. For some, is the 90 minutes on the pitch. Unfortunately, now it's a lot more than that. It's a brand. You're creating a brand, and that's when you go to any sort of sponsor, for example, any business, and say, "Can you be our sponsor on shirt?" If you say, "Well, we've got 1 million subscribers or whatever it may be across all social platforms,"
it's a great selling point.
You can add a few notes on to end how much you're going to charge, and if anything, they'd rather have that than they would actually the shirt on the name on the shirt. Like, they'd rather have you talking about them all the time and having access to all the people that follow the football club and to be able to tap into all them. That's what they're bothered about, and we just don't have that. We don't, I mean, the fact that we have the halftime challenge, and the fact that I forget his name, who does the announcing, references how dirty the balls are that we use every week. He just it just sums up where we are as a football club at the moment. Peter, do you think anything's going to come out of this meeting? Do you think we're going to get answers, or do you think we're going to get more questions?
I don't think we'll get any answers. I think we'll end up with. I think it'll be a complete headache. I think it'll be a nightmare. A little source has told me that it was quite a spectacular meeting, but I've been sworn to secrecy, so I'm not saying any more than that. And we'll find out in the fullness of time. And I would imagine the club will drag it out. It wouldn't surprise me if this doesn't come out until the end of the season. And they'll try and bury it in some other news, perhaps bury it in the announcement that Danny Rowell is going to leave the club. Well, that's the best way to get rid of bad news when something else breaks.
They'll probably bury it with a Carabao energy drink advert. That's what they normally do.
I mean, there's nothing. I mean, what is the next? I mean, I think the next big bombshell will be the non-production of this mysterious fourth kit. I was third kit, but yeah, I know what you mean. Third kit.
Yeah. I was thinking the same actually. That would be the next one. That they're not going to get made, and I don't know. Do you know what I said to the 1867 guys when they first started? I was like, you've just got to wait, because there will be another fuck up, and just bide your time, and he'll do something else. And lo and behold, there will be something around the corner. Something else will happen.
We all know that the next cock up is days away now. It's not weeks away. It's days away. As
a fan, you should not be worrying about whether your players are going to get paid or not. And that's where we are as fans now. We're not bothered about what team.
Check your phone every morning, James, when you wake up at 6 o'clock, because I do.
I try and put it on Do Not Disturb, actually, to be fair.
No, I mean, you look at Twitter expecting another mysterious statement from the chairman in Thailand.
Yeah.
And what's happening next? And I listened to the piece you did on that with the guys from Reading.
Yeah.
And there are some remarkable similarities.
It sounds the same, doesn't it? It sounds the same.
Yeah, it's going exactly the same way.
Selling off the assets. Dai Young sold the stadium to himself. He sold the car park, and I think he tried to sell the training ground as well. We've done that. We sold the stadium. Obviously can't sell the training ground, so I don't believe we own that. When points deductions, not paying players, they all did all that as well. It's going to be a long old process.
Just a quick. One thing I don't feel sorry for is the kids. I mean, there's news come out in the last couple of weeks about the young 17, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who've been released.
Yeah.
And a couple of stories in particular about the lad Jay Buchan, who was desperate to go out on loan and was prevented from doing so because the chairman wanted X amount of wages off an EFL club when really I mean, to me, that's just, as far as I'm aware, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
You know, you ask for 1.5 times a player's salary for him to go and play and learn how to play the game.
Yeah, but we're talking about like £100. Do you know what I mean? Well, if he's on, he might be on 500 quid a week, and so we're talking like 150% of his wages, £250 a week. We're talking £1,000. Like in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing.
Does that not answer the question why Pierce Charles has never gone out and learned?
I think because Ben Hamer was injured, I think that's why Pierce Charles didn't go out on loan. And then
how long have we been saying about Pierce Charles? We've been saying it for the last 2 years, haven't we? Does that answer the question why Sean Fazer never went out on loan or Joey Poulter
probably
never went out on loan? And all we've ended up doing is losing those kind of lads.
Well, we don't move any players on, do we? Like a player doesn't come to Sheffield Wednesday thinking that they're going to move on. Like you see Hull, for example, they do. They bring them in, they move them on. Much to the frustration of the fans, but from a business model, they do that, and you just kind of have to accept it and suck it up. We don't. So if you're a good player, you're not going to see, you know, if you've got aspirations to get into the Premier League, you might come to Sheffield Wednesday and then think, well, actually, yeah, they'll let someone, they'll let them go at the end. If I have a good season, they'll sell me. It's good for the club, and I then get to the Premier League. But they're not going to do that because they know it's not going to happen. Or if they do come, they're only signing a 1-year deal because they want to get out. And then they're not going to do, you know what I mean? They're just going to go somewhere else. So, yeah, Peter, massive thanks for coming on, mate. Do appreciate it. I've got Snell Dog that's waiting in the wings. I'm just going to read out another comment as well from Tom. He says, what about the price on merchandise and matches? That's another reason why kids won't know what Sheffield Wednesday are all about. When parents won't want to go and take the children because of the cost of it all is ridiculous. That's what the new owners need to change. Football for fans again, not to profit off everyday working class person. Obviously, we're playing Stoke of the week on Friday. I had a look to do the preview show. I had a look at their merchandise. Again, another Macron club as well. I think is that 3 in a row that we've had? Hull, Oxford, and now Stoke, all with Macron kits. You can get a kit for them for Stoke right now. A junior home shirt, short sleeved, £16.80. You can get a shirt for 60% off. I mean, they're only 42 quid for starters anyway. Or you can get the shirt and the shorts for the toddler kits. Again, £16.80. How much are ours? 50 quid or something. I know they've got a 50% sale on now, but anyway. Snell Dog, how's things? You all right?
I'm fine, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Just about. Like I said, I'm off to Dusseldorf tomorrow, so I think I'll be. I think the booze will be helping me.
Yeah, so just on that, I've spent a lot of time in Dusseldorf. So
okay.
Yeah, make sure you go down to the Altstadt. It's very nice. But also, if you're there for a couple of days, it's very easy to get to the old part of Cologne. It's just a train journey away. You can have a great time in Cologne. Good beer houses there.
We are there until Sunday evening. So it's a stag do. I've had nothing to do with it. My wife asked me, what time are you flying? I said, I don't know. She said, where are you flying from? I said, I don't know. Where are you staying? I've no idea. I've just literally paid the money and I'm just I'm turning up. All I need to know is I've got to be at the Wetherspoons for 4:30 in the morning. I don't even think it's gonna be open in Chapeltown. So that's as far as I've got really. So I'll put those recommendations forward anyway, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Cologne. Get to Cologne and get to the Altstadt, the old town. It's lovely.
Nice one. Go on, Snell. What do you want to talk about, mate?
The thing that I can talk about is I've been involved in the purchase and acquisition of 3 different businesses, and with one of those transactions, I was the main guy at the heart of it. So I can give you a bit of an insight on an NDA and where that fits in the process.
Yeah, go on.
So if you've got, we hear, don't we, that we've got several interested parties, and usually that would start with an initial conversation or an expression of interest. The first thing that you do before you go any further, absolutely standard practice, is you mutually agree an NDA and you sign it so you can move forwards. And it just doesn't happen without that. That is the first step. And the reason you do that is everybody is then protected. and you both can disclose information safe in the knowledge that it's not going to go any further. And once you've done that, you can start to share high level information. So that would be things like just an overview of the operation, numbers, a lot of numbers. So the revenue, the profit, what the trends are, looking at year on year trends for finance, what the strategy is, what the business plan is. And that helps any buyer decide if they want to move forward. And once you've gone past that high level information, you move to what's called a term sheet or a letter of intent.
Yeah, just on that, I suppose if you've got plans for expansion or doing other things, they might not be common knowledge to everyone out there, and obviously I suppose that doesn't want to get out there either. So yeah, that you sign an NDA so that if you don't sell the business, not everyone else doesn't then know about what you're going to be doing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a completely binding thing. Although in our instance, if there's a plan, I'll eat my own hat. But anyway, that's a separate conversation. But so once you've got past all that high level information exchange, you get into a letter of intent or a term sheet, and that's where you start to talk about how much it's worth, what the deal structure looks like, how the shareholding is positioned, what the timeline might be, and also what kind of exclusivity period you might have. So, we want to do a deal with you. Will you give us 30 or 60 days exclusivity to get this done, kind of thing. Once you've done that, you're into a term that a lot of people will have heard of, which is due diligence. But what you do as part of that is create a data room. So a data room is, these days, it's somewhere in the cloud that's set up by a legal firm that specializes in these things. And that's where you put every employment contract, every supplier contract, every single bit of collateral that you've got that reinforces the fact that you're telling the truth and you're being honest and you're doing a decent deal. And then the purchaser will access all of that data in a secure data room and do their due diligence and come back with a load of questions to start to get to the point where you can draft a definitive agreement. And that is when you start moving towards a definitive legal contract to buy the business with. And there's loads of back and forth. That often takes the longest time because you have things like, what are the terms, warranties, indemnities, if something crops up at a later date, which with Chancery it would. If something crops up at a later date, what kind of compensation are you going to give us for that? And then once both parties can move forward and sign that, then the deal closes. But to go back to the start, that whole process starts with an NDA, period. And what the last point I'll make is this: if somebody is refusing to sign an NDA, that is the biggest possible red flag I can think of. Because why wouldn't you? You want to protect yourself. You want to protect yourself in this deal. Yeah. And if you're not prepared to sign an NDA, I can only speculate as to why that would be. It's either as simple as, I don't really want to sell and I don't want to get involved in this process.
Yeah, because that's going to put the prospective buyer off, isn't it? Because they want that hugely, as well at the same time.
Hugely. There isn't anybody that's backed by sensible corporate people that would enter into even the slightest conversation without an NDA, really. And the only other thing I can think is, if he was to sign an NDA and information started to be exchanged, I just think if he opens his kimono, it may be that there are some absolute nightmare scenarios in there that he is trying to bury and doesn't want them to come to the public light.
Well, one thing he's already said is he invests the money, or his money. That's why he couldn't pay the players. So that, again, I have nothing to back this up other than his words. I feel that he's obviously money's coming in from his other business or somewhere else to fund the players. That's why he couldn't pay the wages. Is money going the other way? I mean, is he taking money out of the club and then kind of doing his quote unquote investing in whatever he's investing in, and then putting it back into because the transactions would be like 10 a penny, like going back in out. It must look a right mess.
It's like the guy said earlier, you can't trust a thing that he says. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, there's been a massive injection of capital into the business, and there should be no issue with these payments, but there is. The whole thing just doesn't stack up.
Yeah, you're right. And again, we're left with more questions than answers, as always. And you know what? And obviously, these things happen, don't they, Snell? Like when things aren't going right, people do look into things. And when you've got a fan base as big as what ours is, the speculation grows. It seems like everyone's got their own opinion on things, and some people are putting 2 and 2 together and getting 6. Like we don't really know. But when we don't get anything out of the club, and they don't, and when he does come and speak, we have the letter on Saturday, which didn't say anything really other than don't believe what you read in the press kind of thing.
Well, that's fine, but when Sheffield Wednesday operates as effectively an information vacuum, it's going to be populated with speculation and conjecture, and that's what happens, because it's just a closed book. We don't know what's going on. We don't even know why Firmino was injured. What was wrong with him? We don't know.
No, we don't. It is very much a closed book, and I've heard some people say, like, once you start to give some information, as fans, you always want more. So and I do get that, but I mean, we get nothing. To then say that I don't like all the speculation, and I know we're partly to blame. Like I do a podcast, me and Matt sit on a Sunday and talk for an hour and a half, like here tonight, talking for an hour and a half. And when there isn't much coming out, you do have to put 2 and 2 together, and that's how that happens. Like if we had more hard facts, we'd talk about the hard facts, but we don't. So we have to. I'm not saying we make things up, of course we don't, but the people are going to again speculate about things. Snell, massive thanks for coming on, mate. That's hopefully people have shown a bit of an insight into what actually happens when you buy a business, or certainly a normal business anyway. Maybe not Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, but certainly a normal business that's out there. But yeah, thanks for coming on, pal. Do appreciate it. Let's read a couple more comments and then I will wrap things up. Lewis, this all explains why Chansiri won't sign an NDA. There's potentially something dark and hidden within the documents. Yoza, oh yes, there's definitely something financially sinister going on. Jabo says Trump's fault for crashing the stock market will be his next excuse. Yeah, get that one on your bingo card, along with COVID and EFL and all those other things as well. Chris says, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Dodgy dealings, maybe even illegal. S3, D-taxes, not real. Natalie says it needs a forensic accountant to go through everything. I guarantee there are some skeletons lurking somewhere. Yeah, the Sell Before We Die group had some Chinese financial investigators or whatever it was, accountants that they had over there. Obviously, Dai Yong comes from China. He's got a Chinese businesses and stuff, which is ultimately kind of why he's been disqualified as a owner by the EFL. Maybe we need to do something similar. I don't know. Matt said, I feel like he gambles on the funds coming into the club. Investment wise, it's like me not being able to pay my bills because Arsenal let me down on an accumulator. Yeah, begambleaware.org, of course, Matt. But yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it? He said the words invest. I don't know what he's investing in. But anyway, right, I'm going to wrap things up there. Massive thanks, everyone, for joining this evening. Yeah, we've got Stoke on Friday. Didn't even talk about it. Got Middlesbrough on Monday. Didn't even talk about that either. But yeah, thanks for joining us as always. If you missed some of this show, then you can go over to patreon.com/WTID pod, and you can watch the whole show there. You can join the Discord group. Loads of discussions going on over there as well. So yeah, the least you can do if you're watching on YouTube is press subscribe. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to get some kip. I'm up early in the morning. I'm off to Dusseldorf, as I mentioned. And yeah, I'll see you all when I come back. Cheers, guys.